Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this look is a bit more gory and a bit more obviously special effects Halloween. This is just showing you how I actually create my scars and how I do them. So how I created this one on my cheek here, which is a bit more, it's like indented into the skin and it looks a bit more 3D like. If I zoom in you can see it a bit better there, you know, like you can see all the skin raised and things. And then obviously we've got the really gory bloody like liquid latex one as well. So I'm going to show you how I create both of these looks, if depending on which one you want, how to make it blend into your skin a little bit easier. Obviously mine isn't perfect, but it just gives you a rough idea. If you do enjoy this video, then please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below. And if you are obviously new to my channel and this is the first time you see me, then hi, my name is Rebecca. I upload 2 days a week. I upload on a Tuesday and a Saturday, and I hope you enjoy this video. So let's just get straight into it. Right, so we're just going to jump straight into it. Sorry if you can kind of see my mirror here, it's just that I need to be able to see what I'm doing. So obviously I'm going to be creating 2 scars today, as you've just seen. I'm going to be using the Ridge collection, and this is the scarring liquid, and then I'm also going to be using liquid latex to create scars. So one will be a bit more like a 3D effect and one will look as though it's like cut into and then blood coming out of it. So because both of these in the layers they need drying time, I'm going to actually do them both at the same time. So the first kind of scar that I'm going to work on is the one that's going to be 3D, and I'm going to have it coming down my face here. So you just want to take like a skin toned lip liner, and all I'm going to do is trace out where I want it. You can do your makeup first, so you can do it after, but because I'm also doing the scar on my head, I'm going to just do it after and just work around this. So take your pencil and kind of map out so something kind of along that line. The upside is about doing this, you can kind of like rub away the bits that you don't want. So I'm going to just do it like that for now. So I'll just open this up. So the bottle just looks like this. You can literally get it anywhere. You can see it. You can get it on Amazon. You can probably get it at most Halloween stores. The only downside with it is, I don't know if you can see, but the brush is kind of like flared inside. So that's why I kind of wanted to map it out, because if you don't do that, it's going to be a little bit hard to see where you've gone beforehand. I'm going to try and get the bristles together, but we'll see what happens. God, I forgot how bad this smells. I haven't used this in a while and you forget how bad it actually smells. And what this actually does, it tightens your skin around it to create like a 3D effect. That's why you've got to let it dry it between layers. So then I'm going to open up the liquid latex while that first layer is drying. This bottle just looks like this. There's lots of different brands of liquid latex. I just really like this one. It's one that I found that works for me. So you just want to give it a shake just to kind of mix it all together. So with my liquid latex, I've got just a silver pan, and I'm just going to pour it onto here and just work off of here, just because it's easier for me to do. Obviously the only downside, it will dry on here, so you will obviously have to keep reapplying it on. But right, so with this you want to do your first layer and you want to just kind of paint it on where you want your scar, and you want to allow this to dry. So I kind of want mine coming here. The first layer, you just literally pop in this on like that. So there we go, we're going to leave that to dry, and we're going to go back in with this and just paint over it again. If you obviously had a lot of scars to do, you could get like the bigger one. We do a bigger size bottle of this. I'm actually thinking I'm going to show you one a little bit closer on my face as well, just so that then you can see like how it works on different areas of the face, because obviously the cheek is quite chubby. So I'm just going to take the same pencil and I'm literally just going to draw it down here, just so it's like a cut nose kind of thing. we're just going to overlay that. So obviously we haven't got as many layers on this at the moment, but just so you can kind of see it just on my actual face, because I know the side of the face. There we go. And you can feel it tightening straight away. Right, so now that you've got that there, it's really shiny and it does go a little bit tacky. So what we're going to do is literally just take like tissue paper. Looks like toilet paper. You can use tissue paper if you want, but I'm going to use this. And you want to just kind of rip it up into like little pieces. I don't know if you can see that kind of tightening now. It doesn't hurt when it tightens, by the way. Probably should just say that. It just feels a bit strange, but obviously you don't want to get it too near your eye. That's why I dragged it down here. So take your liquid latex. I'm just using it on a paddle brush. I'm just popping it back over the area that we just did. And I'm just going to stick a piece of tissue paper on. And then just cover that up. You might want to do it in like 2 layers. So you want to kind of make sure that it's all fading in together. And eventually you want it to kind of make sure that it blends in with your skin. So you want to have the outer edges laying flat. So if you just extend it past. So we're just building this up to begin with. That's all this is doing. I love this part because it's just like your paper mashing. That's all you're pretty much doing. Just put one more piece on. Just there. And then we're just going to overlay it all with this and just let this dry. We're just going to let that dry for now. Now we're just going to go back over the scar again. And now we're going over this one as well. It is just up to you how many times you layer it, depending on how deep you want yours to be. Now that I've done this a couple of times, I am just going to, once this is dried, I'm going to go over this centre bit a little bit more, just so that you can kind of see that's a bit deeper, like it's a deeper cut. So we're just going to wait for this to dry. A good little tip if you want this to dry faster, obviously, if you didn't have the other steps, you can just literally take a hairdryer and just hairdry it. Obviously, don't have it on a really hot setting because it can take a while to dry between layers. Now I'm just going to pop a bit of a deeper bit just in here only. Just like that, looks as though it's sinking just that little bit more. Do you see, you can kind of see it already. So I'm just going to take some more liquid latex and I'm going to pop some here just to make sure all this is now blending in with the face. And you want to make sure it's overlaid so that then obviously, you know, we've not got any harshy bits. Make sure it's all flattened down. I'm just going to So that's that done again, and then just let it dry a little bit on its own first before you just go in with the hairdryer. Obviously it's looking really crazy and you think, oh my god, it's never going to look like an actual scar, but it will do in the end, don't worry. And just go over your scars again. So now it's starting to really take form of these scars, and I think I'll have enough on after this one. I might just put one more layer on this one because obviously this one is a little bit behind. but you can see on my face like how that's deep rooted into my face. Like if I look at it like that, you probably can't see it as much, but when I turn my head you can see like it all there. That's why I kind of wanted to do one here so I could move it around a bit more and you can see it. Right, so I'm happy with the way that this scar's looking, so I'm just going to put one more coat just on this one, and then these are going to be these two scars done. Right, so now what we're wanting to do is put one here just to blend it, and then we're going to do one more coat over it all, and then that's it for this, and then we're going to cut into it and create the other bits that we're wanting to do on it. Then we're just going to put it all over again, just so that it's all blended and nice and smooth. There we go, and now we're just going to leave all of that to dry, and then I'll be back in a minute when we're going to cut into it and stuff. Right, so now that this is pretty much dry and I've put enough of the scarring liquid on that I feel as though I'm going to actually need to do my foundation now. I'm obviously going to focus on not getting too much like on the scars and things, so I'll just show you how I do that and how I'm going to perfect this, but I'm not going to show you the rest of my face makeup. I'll just show you how I adapt my makeup obviously to do the scars. So I'm going to be using the Revolution Conceal and Define foundation just because it gives me the coverage that I want, but it's not in too many areas either, so I'm just going to literally just dot it around. And I'm going to be very particular where I'm obviously placing it. And then I'm going to use the other shade that I have, which is F3, so that was F4, and just mix the two together. And yeah, I'm going to be using a sponge rather than a brush to apply this on. So like I said, I'm not going completely over the scars, but I am going to pop a little bit of concealer over afterwards, just so that then they don't look as though they're just freshly done. See what I mean about going around it? You can do your makeup first. If you was just doing these scars here, you could just do it first, because I'm obviously doing the other one as well. Right, so now to cover up some of this, now that it's kind of nearly dry, I'm going to go over with a bit of foundation. I'm just going to do it in this section here to make sure that it kind of covers it. Yeah, it does. And it kind of creates a bit of a wrinkled effect. Don't get me wrong, like it doesn't look perfect, but obviously bearing in mind I'm going to make it a bit more, it's going to be cut into and things, so it's not going to look perfect. But you want, if you've got a darker foundation, you want to just use the darker foundation for this. Just because obviously if you go in with a lighter foundation, it's not going to match in with the rest of it. So that's what my makeup's looking like at the moment. So I'm going to go in with some concealer now, and I'm going to just do my under eyes like I normally would. And obviously I've got to be a little bit more careful on this side. If you were to cover it up, by the way, it wouldn't make a difference. Like you could just go back in with the red after. This just obviously saves me having to go back in after if I'm a bit more careful at the moment. Right, and now we're going to powder all of my face, and we are actually going to be powdering over the scars because we want to get rid of the shiny residue. So to do this, I'm just using this Rimmel Stay Matte, and I'm just going to set my under eyes first. Just doing this one how I normally would. Right. And then I'm going to go in with powder all over the rest of my face, and I'm just going to be using a big brush. So like I said, you're going over the scar just to try and get rid of some of that shininess. And now we're just going to set this down as well. So it's looking like that at the moment, but it will be fine after, just bear with me. Right, so what I'm just going to do is quickly do my eyebrows, just do a bit of eye makeup and the rest of my face, and then I'll just come back and I'll show you how we're going to alter these scars to make them a bit more realistic and not just look as though they've been plonked there. So I'll be back in a second. Right, so the rest of my face makeup is now on, so I'm going to do this to begin with. We're going to kind of create the slit in it. So all I'm going to do is just take a pair of tweezers and just kind of go into the middle of it. And you'll see it'll start to, I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm doing here. So now that bit you've just pulled out, I'm just going to cut that off. If it'll let me cut it off, that is. So now that we've kind of got like a hole, we're just going to stretch that hole. Do you see what I mean? Now that I've got some better scissors, we're just going to cut it. Right, so you only want to cut it a bit because you want to have it more of like a peeling effect. Right, we're just going to cut this bit here. Got a hole in it now. You want to keep like so it looks as though there's like skin rippling. That's how you kind of want it. And then you're going to go just into the centre of that with a bit of foundation just to begin with. Just so then it matches everything else we've done. You know, we want it to all match in. So I'll just blend that in there. Like that. See? That just looks a little bit better and it looks like we've got something to stick to now. We want that, the skin rippling effect. Just so that it looks a bit more kind of battered and bruised. This is where like using the toilet paper instead of like tissue paper helps, because it moves and pulls a bit better, whereas the tissue paper just kind of becomes this solid thing. You can cut it a lot easier, but obviously it's harder to kind of pull and make it have like these rippled effects in it, because I can kind of like move it to wherever I want now and just kind of leave it like that and we've got that effect. I'm going to go in with like a purpley shade so it looks as though it's a bit bruised. I'm just going to go in and I'm just going to go in with this shade Flamed out of the Jaclyn Hill Ring the Alarm palette. Any kind of deep purple will do. And I'm just going to pop this just around the edges, because what this is, it's like your skin's bruised in it, so you want it to kind of look as though it's bruised. Where it's been like pulled at. Obviously we're going to put some red and stuff in there in a minute, but I'm just doing this for now, like so it kind of accentuates like the bruised bits. So that's what it's looking like at the moment. Then I'm going to go in with the red shade, which is just the Stargazer Bright Red. I'm just going to take this like on a blending brush, and we're just going to pop this in the middle, because obviously we want it to look a bit more reddish in here, because obviously it is all bruised. Make sure you get it down all the little crevices just in case any of it moves like as the night goes on. In some areas, just to kind of, you know, like, I'm just going to pop a bit here, because obviously you don't just want it to be in the scar area, because other than that it's just going to look really fake. So pop it here, pop it here, pop a bit where it blends together kind of thing. So it's starting to look a bit like that. And then we're going to go in with some fake and clotted blood. So to do this, I have the extra thick gel blood and then just normal running fake blood. I prefer to have two different types, obviously it's your preference, but I'm going to have it so that then the blood's kind of running this way rather than that way. So what you want to do is take your blood and where you want it to start, just have it in like that. So that's where I want it to stop. And then to make it stop, you just pick some of it up like that. So that's how I want it to be. Because you don't want it to go past just to connect to you with the scar. So now we're just making this all look really wet inside. Just highlight some of these creases that you've done just to kind of accentuate them. Now, this is where I love to use the gel blood, because with the gel blood, it's more of like a thick clotted kind of formula. So with the thicker blood, it'll clot in certain areas, and just kind of sit there. So like if you have it sat, it's a little bit more of a brighter red, so you kind of got to be very particular where you put it. See what I mean? It just looks a bit more. There we go. So I'm just going to leave that like that now. And we're going to work on these scars. So what I'm going to do is just take a concealer on my finger, just a little bit, and just kind of run it over the scar. Not too much, just like a little bit. So it's a little bit more of like the lived in effect. So this is just what the finished look now looks like. Obviously we've just toned them scars down a little bit, but they're still looking nice and bright. You can tone it obviously down a little bit more if you want to, but this is just what I'm liking the way it looks out. I'm just going to zoom you out so you can see the full look. So this is the one that's quite gory and more like in your face, whereas these are the more kind of natural ones. So it just depends on what kind of look you're wanting to go for. I like both effects. I think this looks quite nice, but then you've got the gory side as well. You can obviously have you don't have to have the blood bringing down, but I prefer it like that. I always have done, just so it looks as though it's actually bleeding and it's weeping rather than just like blood sat there, and it kind of ties in the look a little bit more. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then please give it a big like and hit the subscribe button down below. There will be a lot more Halloween tutorials to come, so I hope you're as excited for them as what I am. And I will see you on my next one. Bye guys.